Highs and lows, highs and lows.
Hi guys, welcome back to another video. This is all about planning. How am I going to plan my fishing session, whether that be a pleasure day or whether it be in a match. I never used to plan my days. I used to just load the car up, get to my venue, draw my peg if I was in a match and work it out on the day. Sometimes I'd do well and sometimes I didn't, but what I've realised over the last 12 months is planning is really important. So I've got 6 points, guys, for your plan. This is how I approach it. You might approach it differently, but if you can take something away today, it's all about have a plan and prepare your fishing session. First of all, point 1, consider the weather. What's the weather doing? Is it going to rain? Is it going to be windy? Is it going to be low? Is it going to be a low wind in terms of miles per hour? Is it going to be a high wind? Have you got high pressure, low pressure, etc.? You've got to think about the weather. Is it going to be cold? Is it going to be warm? That will then dictate how your day goes. So think about the weather. Is it going to rain? Is it going to be cold? Is it going to be windy? They're the key factors that will dictate how you will go about the rest of your day. My second point of my plan is all about thinking about what are the target fish. What fish am I going to target on the day? Know your venue. You fished there before, you know what type of fish are there. If you don't, ask questions, but understand what your target fish is going to be. Are you going to go after silvers? Are you going to go after carp? Are you going to go after both? So think about the target fish and what you want to catch that day. Third part of my plan is understanding what technique I might use or what rigs I'm going to use on that day. So am I going to fish a feeder rod? I'm going to fish a bomb. Am I going to fish a waggler rod? Am I going to fish a 13-meter pole? Therefore, if I'm going to fish the pole, I need to think about what rigs, what depth I'm going to be fishing at. I'm going to be fishing at 6 foot, 3 foot, etc. So think about the techniques that you're going to fish, and then based on the technique, what type of rigs, what type of hook lengths you're going to need, what type of floats based on the depth, etc. So think about your technique and the rigs that are going to come with that. Fourth part of my plan is think about the type of lines you're going to fish. Are you going to fish a long distance, a 20-meter line? Are you going to fish a 13-meter, 14-meter pole line? Or are you going to fish at a 6 or 7-meter pole line and possibly even a margin line? So think about the lines, because that will then dictate the type of technique you're going to use. It's going to dictate some of the other things that we're going to come on to now. So my fifth part of my plan is the bait. So once you understand what the weather conditions are going to be, once you understand what technique the target fish are going to be, the technique and what line you're going to fish, you'll know then, have an understanding what bait you need for the day. So if it's a really windy day and you take maggots with you, the chances are you're not going to catapult those maggots. So you might not need so many maggots, but you might be able to throw them by hand. So you think about the baits, same with pellets as well. Some pellets, depending on the size of the pellets, are easier to catapult in the wind, some are not. So think about the bait that you're going to use, all based on whether the weather conditions, the technique, and the lines you're going to fish. And my final point, my sixth point, is really important. I never understood the importance of this until about 12 months ago, and that is timings. Consider the timings when you're fishing. It's not something you can really plan for. It's probably not part of a plan, but it's something to me I put into my plan when I'm fishing, and that is, how often am I going to feed? Am I going to feed every 5 minutes? Am I going to feed every 10 minutes? You've got to think about that. Am I going to feed every time I catch a fish? That will depend on the day. You've got to be adaptable. But also the timings of how often, understanding how often you're getting bites. Because your plan might have to be adapted based on how often you're catching. If you're catching on a line every 2 minutes, you're catching a fish every 2 minutes, but then all of a sudden it just dries up. You stop getting bites, you hadn't had a bite for 10, 15 minutes. There's a reason why that's happened, and you've got to decide on the day then, based on your plan, what line you might fish next or what technique you're going to fish next. You've got to change something, so consider your timings. How often you're going to feed, and keeping track of how often you're getting bites. So 6 points to my plan. Consider the weather, consider your target fish, consider the technique you're going to use, consider the lines you're going to fish, whether it's long distance, short distance, 13 meters, etc. Fifth point, consider your bait. what baits you're going to use on the day, and finally think about your timings, how often you might feed them and how often the bites are coming when you're catching those fish. So hopefully that plan has helped you. It certainly helped me. I catch more fish by thinking about how I'm going to plan my day. So if you guys like this video, please leave a like and subscribe. Hit the buttons, it always helps me. Any comments, if you've got a different plan to mine and it works for you, put it in the comments, let me know, because I might learn something from that. So leave a like and subscribe. Tight lines, guys. See you next time.